A new adjuster gets on a roof after a reported hailstorm. The homeowner says hail hit the neighborhood. The contractor says the roof is covered in hail damage. The assignment says possible hail damage to the roof. So the adjuster starts looking at the shingles. He sees dark spots, missing granules, and some marks that look suspicious. And the temptation is real. There it is. Hail damage. That may feel simple, but hail claims are rarely simple just because someone brought chalk and confidence. Granule loss and dark spots by themselves are not automatically hail damage. And one close-up photo of one suspicious mark does not tell the story of the roof. This is part 5 of our 7-part series, Wind and Hail Roof Damage for New Adjusters. In part 1, we talked about knowing before you go. In part 2, we talked about safety before you step on the roof. In part 3, we talked about truck-to-truck inspection workflow. In part 4, we talked about wind damage basics. Now, in part 5, we are talking about hail damage basics. And the first thing new adjusters need to understand is this. A hail inspection is not about finding one mark. It is about documenting a pattern. When hail impacts a shingle, you may see granule displacement, exposed asphalt, bruising, puncture, or damage to the mat. The key issue is whether the impact caused functional damage, meaning damage that affects the shingle's ability to shed water. That is very different from saying I found a dark spot. A dark spot may matter, but it needs context. Granule loss can come from hail, but it can also come from age, foot traffic, tree contact, or weathering. That is why a new adjuster has to slow down. You are not there to agree with the loudest person on the roof. You are there to inspect, document, and report what you observe. That means you need to look at the whole roof. Look at the slope. Look at the general condition. Look at the pattern. Look at whether the marks are randomly distributed. Look at whether multiple slopes show similar activity. Look at whether the collateral damage supports the storm story. Because one dark spot on an old roof tells a different story than a consistent pattern of impacts across exposed slopes. Pattern matters, context matters, collateral matters, and documentation matters. Now, let's talk about test squares. A test square is not just a chalk box you draw because someone told you to. A proper hail test square helps organize your inspection. A common method is to mark a 10 by 10 test square on each directional slope when conditions allow. Mark the area clearly. Label the slope direction. Photograph the test square in context. Then photograph representative damage close-up. The overview photo shows where the test square is. The close-up photo shows the damage detail. You need both. A close-up without context is just a mystery mark. And claim files do not need more mystery. When you document hail damage in a test square, count damaged shingles, not tabs. That is important. A shingle may have multiple tabs, but you are documenting damage tabs. You are documenting damaged shingles. Do not stop counting just because you reach some number you expected to find. Mark and document what you actually observe. Again, the goal is not to force the claim bigger, nor is the goal to make the file smaller. The goal is to document the roof accurately. Now let's talk about what you are looking for when you inspect a suspected hail impact. You should be looking at soft metals, vents, pipe jack flashing, vent caps, or chimney flashing. Hail usually does not damage only the shingles and ignore everything around them. So you should be looking at gutters, downspouts, window screens, and painted trim. Look at the elevation first. Garage doors, storm doors, siding, sheds, and fences. Collateral damage can help support the storm story, but collateral damage does not replace roof documentation. A dented gutter does not prove every shingle is hail damaged. A damaged screen does not count your test square for you. A dented vent does not write the estimate. If only the world were that convenient. You still have to document the roof. Now let's talk about photos. A lot of new adjusters take close-up photos of marks and forget to show where those marks are located. That creates a weak file. Use the same photo logic. Wide photo, medium photo, close-up photo. The wide photo shows the slope and test square location. The medium photo shows the damage section in context. The close-up photo shows the representative impact. Photos should walk the reviewer through the inspection. They should not dump a pile of roof freckles into the file. Your notes matter too. Do not just write hail damage and move on. Write what you observed. For example, you might note suspected hail impacts in a rear slope test square. No visible hail damage observed on the left slope. Soft metal dents observed on roof vents, damaged screen on front elevation, or granule loss with no clear impact pattern. Clear notes help explain the inspection. Vague notes create questions, and questions create delays. Now let's talk about lookalikes. This is where new adjusters can get themselves into trouble. Blistering can look like hail to an untrained eye. Footfall can create marks. Tree scuffing can remove granules. Age and weathering can create worn areas. Manufacturing issues or poor ventilation can also affect the roof surface. That does not mean every mark is not hail. It means every mark deserves context. If the damage is uncertain, document what you observed carefully. Do not overstate it. Do not make the file stronger than the facts. And do not let pressure replace process. A contractor may be convinced the roof is totaled. A homeowner may be worried. But your job is to stay steady. Inspect the roof, document the condition, follow your guidelines. Let the file support the conclusion. Hail damage should make sense inside the larger inspection. Do the test squares show a pattern? Do the slopes tell a consistent story? Does the collateral damage support the reported storm? Are there signs of age or wear instead? Do your photos, notes, roof diagram, and estimate support each other? Those are the questions that build a stronger claim file, because software will not fix a weak inspection. Xactimate can help write an estimate. It cannot decide whether a mark is hail damage. That responsibility starts in the field. So here's the lesson for part 5. Granule loss is not always hail damage. Slow down before you label it. Look for functional damage. Look at the pattern. Use test squares properly. Count damaged shingles, not tabs. Use wide, medium, and close-up photos. Look for collateral indicators. Watch for lookalikes. Write what you actually observed. Do not let pressure replace process. And build a file that makes sense after you leave. This is part 5 of our 7-part series. In part 6, we're going to talk about collateral damage and clues around the roof. Learn the roof, inspect the system, document the evidence. If you are licensed and ready to build practical field skills, check out our course. Check out our Wind and Hail Online Adjuster Certification course with Adjuster Academy of Texas. Need to get licensed first? Start with our Texas pre-licensing course. Now, it is time to get to work and apply these skills in the field.